Hey guys on the conference, can you see the screen? Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so we'll begin. I'm going to show you the RIS data population tool, a little bit about the motivation behind it. We had a need to populate schemas that we test here in QA, just so it would better reflect how would the schema be in real life situation where it's obviously not empty. So we wrote this tool, which its whole purpose is to populate the database with some studies and approved studies, reports, scanned documents, etc. I'm going to give you a quick demo of the tool and refer you to where you can get some further information if you need it. There is a guide included there. Yeah, so without further ado, let's start. So this is the tool. As you can see, it's divided into three main workflows. You have the daily, the complete, and move to approved. The daily mainly focuses on populating the database with the daily data. It should be mostly arrived, ordered, exam done. The complete workflow is supposed to populate the data with approved studies. So you would say I need 300K approved studies in the database to reflect, I don't know, a year-old site. So that's what we use. Move to approved is basically saying everything daily created and that's not in approved state yet. I'm going to use that to move all these studies to approved. So you basically would reset anything that's not approved, which was created by the tool. So let's go over the daily. You have a few fields here that you need to populate. Studies per patient, it goes without saying, so I want 3 studies to be created per patient. Best case per order, just leave it at 1 for now. Linking would decide if those studies are supposed to be linked or not. I'm going to leave it at no. Date, let's say that I want to schedule date for those to be tomorrow. Prefix for accession number, just, you can type something here, but you can leave it blank and that would take it from the config value in the database. Patient name prefix, that's going to be the first and last name prefix of the patient, actually, not the ID. Let's say AVI demo 2, because I think I have one already. Use existing patients. Existing patients, if I'm using a patient name prefix that already exists, I can use existing patients as yes, and that would actually add more studies to these patients rather than create new ones. So now it's set to no, that means it's going to create new patients called AVI demo 2 in the first and last name, and obviously there will be a following number, it's just a prefix. Number of patients, how many we want to create, so I'm going to do 100. So that means we're going to have 100 patients with 3 studies each. So it's going to be a total of 300 records. The status speaker, here we're going to choose the status we want. That's an HSO environment, so you're going to see it obviously in Norwegian. That would be exam done, so I'll select that. As you can see, that marks now as green, so you know it's selected and you have values inside. Every other field would be dynamically populated based on your selection. So I'm going to choose a scheduling group. Take this one, because I think that's the correct one. Patient class, not really sure. Let's pick this one. Study picker. Now in here you have all the studies. You can select one, you can select more than one. If you select more than one, it's just going to randomize them across the patients. We're just going to go with RD thorax for now. That's going to filter and provide me modalities that are compatible with RG thorax. So I'm just going to select both of them, and then I would execute. You should be able to see a progress here that's sampling the database every 5 seconds or so, I think, and I'm going to show you the progress. It should be fairly quickly, so I think the next interval of sampling, there you go, it's going to be 200 and then it's going to be finished. In future version you'll have more threads, so it's faster, but as you can see it's not taking that long. You have here that it's completed. So that's it. Now in this point, if I'll go and log into RIS, I should be able to see these studies. We're not going to do that because we're going to have a really quick demo here. Complete workflow. So in here, the whole idea is that you select a patient ID prefix. Let's do complete test. Number of patients. Now let's say I don't want to do a lot of patients now because that's going to take more time. But let's say I have 100 patients. Now I have these three, let's say, groups that I can select how many percent of the 100 patients I want to have how many studies. I'm not sure if that's clear. So let's say that I want 10% of these 100 patients to have 3 studies, and I want 50% of these to have, that's 17, 50. I'm flicking the middle mouse button, sorry. To have 5 studies, and let's say 10 would have 2. Now, as you can see, we're not summarizing 100% here. So in that case, it's going to create another hidden thread that you don't see. Each one of them is going to be in a separate thread, just so you know. So if I'm not completing 100% here, that's going to create a 4th thread that's going to have one study for the whatever remainder of the percentage that you have here. So we're going to execute. You can see that it's starting all the 4 thread. The 4 one is the hidden that I was talking about. Starting all of them. It's going to freeze the layout so you can't do anything at that point. When it's done, it's going to tell you thread 1 or throw an exception in that case. Sorry about that. Yeah, there are like 2 or 3 bugs that we need to sort out at the moment. So that's going to happen. But generally, yeah, it's okay. That means that it's creating currently the patients and the studies, but let's say if 2 of them had a problem, like a concurrency or something, then you may have that exception, but you can see that I have it in the code. You won't see it here. It's actually being swallowed here, and it will just tell you that it's finished executing all threads. Yeah, another good point to mention here is that you need to turn off the IIS, so just do IIS stop, because you don't want anything to access the database the same time you're creating or modifying anything, obviously. So yeah, let's go to move to approve. Now in here you can say all studies, which is set to yes by default, and if I click that, everything created by the tool would be moved from whatever we created. The 300 we made, for example, to move to approve, on exam done, those would be moved to approved if I do that. If I want a more specific patient, let's say AVI test 2, then I could do, I don't want all studies, but then I need to specify a patient ID prefix. And then I would say AVI test 2 or whatever we created, click move to approve, and that would move all of them to approved. Now, a few things about what we have here. We have the About menu under the toolbox. You can click the changelog. Every new version would have its changelog, so you know what's added and what not. We have the log, which is all the executions you're performing and what parameters were with the executions. And you can see that we have the exception here that's coming from the package in the database. That would be needed when you report a bug, so we need to know what went wrong. Help files. We have the config file. That's the one you saw in the background initially. That's the config where you have all the settings here. I'm not going to touch that because I'm just going to show you that the guide exists. You have the mandatory initial setup that you need to do. You have the configuration values in the config file and what each one of them does and what you need to config. A small brief overview of the daily flow, what each field is doing basically. The same for the complete. You have even examples here of complete with what we discussed when you're not mounting to 100% and if you do and what it does. The move to approved is also explained obviously, and if you need further assistance, Roy Klassen, the DBA, would be the one actually taking any issues raised by service teams. So that's his mail, and as you can see, it asks you here to also include the log and how you can fetch it. Okay, yeah. Going back to the daily, we have the scan document. As you can see, I can say that I want to create scan documents for them. It's going to warn you that it's going to impact the execution time. Obviously, it's going to generate scan documents. If we do any status that includes a report, let's say sign 1, sign 2, or even approved incomplete, you would see it in the guide under the initial configuration, but in the database machine you need to deploy a folder that would be included with the tool, and that would contain text file with lines of text in it. Now those lines of text initially are just test 1, test 2, test 3. You can replace them with some meaningful words. Let's say you have 50 unique lines there, and when a report is created by the tool, that's going to pick, let's say, 5, 6 lines randomly from that file and generate that as a report body. So that's also good if you want to use the report search filter and see and try and find certain keywords within the report bodies. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers it. Anything else? Okay, so if you have any questions, please go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure.
So basically, you can use this tool here for a blank schema.
Yes. Well, blank is in.
Is that correct?
Define blank as in it has no studies, no patients. Yeah, but you still need to have some configurations. You have to have like a scheduler, role key, obviously, and the basic infrastructure of a schema needs to be there. But yeah, you don't have to have patients or studies or whatever that creates everything.
Yeah, when I was talking about blank, I was talking about patient database, basically.
Yeah. So you can use it on a blank database now. The original idea was that you have a blank database and you want to blank schema, and you want to populate it with something you can work with later when you test.
Okay, that's very good. Thanks.
Which versions of RIS does it work on?
Okay, that's a good question. The thing is, this tool currently populates directly on the database. So it's not generating any events. As a result of that, you can imagine that if you have view reporting, the PAC side would not receive any data of anything we create. So that's going to pretty much make it a RIS reporting compatible version, not yet view reporting, but there is an enhancement open to make it view reporting compatible. So that's going to be in the future.
It's going to be populated within the installer package, meaning that in the 11.2 you will have a folder tools, and the tool is already there. I think that you will all have it in your machine. Nice. So, and 114.40, the same. The thing is that we tested it on 3 or 4 families, but we don't have capacity to test it more than that, because the variation of schema and versioning is too much. So if you want to use it and you find that it's working, go ahead. It's only on test. You can see the red warning. Don't use it on production unless you wipe the production then later on. And if you see that it's working in 114.35 or you have a problem, no problem. Report about it and we'll fix it in your environment, etc. The reason that we see more and more issues are coming from different schema, different variation, etc. We are using this tool for months in QA and in L4, and it has, the benefit is there. So for example, you want to test something, you want to replicate something in diagnose. You don't need to create a patient, order, procedure, etc. You just create, I don't know, in your work list, exam done, you want 100 patients without link, etc. And then you can just, next in diagnose, and you have it, and you don't need to bother. This saves us a lot of time when we try to mimic problems in HSO or whatever. We just swamp the schema and simulate diagnose problems or documentation problems, etc.
I think if you want to use the tool in view reporting, I think you can until exam done, not the reporting portion.
What about orders? Do you have order information?
Yeah, he's right.
But the ordering kit is the same.
Okay.
Only the reporting portion is different.
But
so
it can't.
if you just want to populate the schema just to have a workload and your troubleshooting is not related to reporting,
And you're good.
you can use it in Vue reporting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Also, they approve the complete, because the full scope is done in VueRIS, and then later, usually, the standard mapping is to send the report to the PAX, so no problem here.
Okay.
So you're saying that it's already on our schemas, like our schema right now, Iowa, we sent it here, no data. So this is using this for our testing here.
Yeah, you can use it.
Is
We didn't-
ideally,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why we share it in this workshop to help you to simulate and create data on your environment. The environment without data, you can use it.
Right. So I just want to know, how do you execute it? Like you already have the app
right,
up
right.
here.
So I'll show you how I'm executing from the code.
Yeah.
Basically, you'll have just an exe file, an executable file. You double click it, that opens the tool. That's it.
Which is where? I guess.
It's gonna be, as Rich said,
installer.
in the installer you're gonna have a folder called tools,
Right.
and in it you'll have restart compilation tools. Then you'll have just executable with a few
But
DLLs.
you had said it was probably already installed here.
No, it's not installed,
It's-
it's in
it's-
the installation package. I'm assuming that Natalia put here in each server the installation package.
You don't need
so-
to install it in any way. It's just
Just
standalone.
double
Just
click on
copy
that.
and paste it wherever you want, then execute it. You'll need Oracle client there. So I would say a good rule of thumb is wherever you can log in with PLSQL, you can probably run the tool. So just don't put it on a machine where you don't have Oracle client that cannot connect. Because as you can see, I have a connection string there.
Okay.
Um,
You didn't do it with, so he didn't forcing you to install Oracle client even though we're not supposed to be installing
No, he's
courses.
right, he doesn't know about it.
yeah, well,
He's not
there
aware.
is the X copy we have on the web server machine. That's going to be at one point. Yeah, it's not doing it right now, but it's going to go and look for the X copy in the web server and then just utilize that as the Oracle client. But for now, yeah, for now just have a machine with Oracle client installed. It can be even your machine if your computer has Oracle client and you can connect to the database.
Yeah,
Then
then
that-
you can run the
then-
exe.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's mostly Oracle I assume it's a package that what Roy had written to
Yeah,
to
yeah, it
access
is.
that.
It is. Yeah.
But yeah, my point was what she brought up is that, well,
He's
wait a
going to
minute.
fix it.
Yeah,
That's what he said,
okay.
he's going to.
That's just an
send-
intro for so you know what the functionality is. The tool is by no means at its final state that we want it to be,
Right.
but it's going to be there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any more
So
questions?
currently, the best practice is to put it on the database, I think. Or you have, in the bubble, you have an extra server, which is for PLSQL. So you can use that extra server and run the thing.
Yeah.
Really? So which more tools will be in the installer under a tools folder?
At that point, I think that nothing.
No, only these two.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think this tool and other tools that we provide with installer should be used only by the service teams and shouldn't be accessed by the customer.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, I
Do you
think
see
the
red
fact
line?
that it can be ran
but-
only
but
on
it-
tests.
But usually people tend to leave installer on the servers, and customers have access to the servers, and therefore they have access to all the tools.
Fair enough. Don't leave breadcrumbs behind after you install. It should be fine. Okay. Any more questions?
How about new
Oh,
window?
yeah,
in
I have a
the-
question.
Okay. Sorry. You're. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have by any chance a translation list for the scheduling group and the patient class? Do you know which one you're talking about?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
If you have a translation list for the scheduling group and the patient class, the drop down, it's a list in Norwegian, I think.
Oh.
In English?
You mean if I want to, for example, see that and then have space and in brackets have the English translation? We don't have it right now, and right now just going to use whatever it's configured in the environment you're connected to. But we can definitely do that. That's a good idea, to have the English translation side by side.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you had a question?
No, I mean in the move to approve, when you choose the yes, the all, sorry.
Yeah.
All studies means all that you created with the tool, or
In the
all
tool, yeah. All studies created by the tool. It's not
in
gonna
the same session, let's
no,
say?
no. It's saving every execution in the database.
Ah, okay.
Each one has a unique ID, and that would take those IDs, iterate over the studies created for these specific patients, and move them to approve.
Okay,
So
I get it.
you don't need to be worried about it's called native studies being moved.
So just to clear the schema.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to kind of like quote unquote reset whatever the tool did.
So it's not just the ones that are in the status of completed, it's anything that's in the system, everything gets moved to approve?
Created by the tool.
Everything. If I did A/B test
Great,
2,
great.
created 300 studies for
Correct.
exam done, and the schema already contains 1,000 studies of patient X. That's a real patient. That's not going to touch patient X. That's just going to move A/B test 2 patient. With its studies, all of them is going to be moved to approved. So it's strictly touching whatever the tool created, not what's on the schema as is.
So go back to daily.
Yeah.
If I went and created, so I want to create 1,000 in approved, so I could go create 1,000 in daily, and then I have to move 1,000 of them to approved, correct?
You could, but in that case, I would just say create from the complete workflow 1,000 studies. But yeah,
You can do it. So, okay. So I want 1,000 in approved. I want 200 complete. So I would just then I do you have to do the approved ones first. Then you would have to do the completed ones second, and then let's say I want to have 100 in order signed, and I wanted 50 scheduled.
okay.
So, how do you set those differences between the ones that you want in an order status
Well,
as opposed to the scheduled status?
In here we can select. We have the status picker, right?
Oh,
So
okay. Sorry. Yeah.
I can do arrived instead of exam done. I can
Okay.
select several of them, and it would randomize the studies between the sum of studies and patients you need to create.
If you have control, you need to pick one selection and run it at a time. If you don't care, use the multiple selection.
Okay. Yeah.
The tool is very flexible. Do whatever you want.
Sounds like a risk.
No, it's not that risk. So, for example, a limitation which we have here is with the date. You can schedule only one day. It's
Yeah.
not a range.
For now, I can
That's
select
a
one
complaint
date.
from R&D,
Yeah,
which didn't like it.
this guy. Yeah. So he is correct, and we're going to create a date range.
Date range, yeah.
Date range would mean that if I'm creating a range of 5 days, then the daily execution you set up would be run 5 times, once for each of the dates in the range. So that's also going to be a future addition.
The idea behind the move to approve is like you want to create your work list, and then you say, well, I don't want them anymore. I want to swipe them. So this is how you can have a new work list for today or for yesterday or for the week and start over. So the idea is that you want something, oh no, I want another thing. So you move them to approve, run again, and you create your environment again.
What would be nice is using this interface that would create an XML file, so that you could have create a line of XML that would give you the information if I want this type of study, and then you can almost take that line, copy and paste it down to build this is my environment that I would like to build.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like sometimes you call it an answer file, but not an answer file, like a preset of actions you want to execute.
Exactly.
In the forms of XML that basically just fill fields. And,
At this point, we are holding this tool.
Yeah.
This tool was, we sneak it, okay? So we took Avi from L4, he's not a developer, who worked during his weekends. This is why you need to acknowledge he did it on his spare time as an extra job without any mitigation, nothing. So, and we took ROI, which did underneath all the back end. So this is a tool which we want to hold. We don't have any more resources or priorities to extend the tool. Unless, it's critical. I think that by itself, it's more than enough.
Minus a few bugs that need to be fixed.
Yeah.
I have one more question. For example, in our big sites, we have something like 12 million records in the site workers or in the report.
Yeah.
I believe every population will affect the performance. So when the amount of studies will become critical, let's say people can reach unlimited amounts of studies, right?
Yeah, in theory.
So is there any way to reset all the studies?
No. We do not remove them from
Yeah.
database. We just move them to complete.
So basically, if there is too much usage of this tool, you can find you can ruin the schema.
You can run, yeah.
Read the first line, please.
Yeah.
Even
Test only.
No, I'll
I'll
answer that. We could.
Be careful whatever you are doing. We give you the tool. We give the tool and the service need to use it. And they need to recognize what they have. If the test is limited and they don't have storage or it's a limited system, do not use the tool to abuse the schema.
Okay, so the bottom line, if you have your performance issues in the test environment, first of all check how many studies you have inside worklists to see if you didn't abuse the system with the tool.
But to expand on that, there are some few things you put in place to prevent cases where you break things. For example, open the config file. We have this, so that would be the daily exam count limit. I don't want to go into these things in too much details. They are in the guide, but that would basically say, no matter how many executions you do, it would prevent you from amounting to more than 5,000 records for a specific day. So you can obviously reduce that if you don't want to have. We ran into scenarios when you have a lot of records for a specific day. We would try to load sign one worklist, for example, for a specific day, or scheduled for a specific day, and would get a timeout. Too many records to load. So that would prevent that. And there is another limitation, I think it's in the guide as well, that would prevent you from reaching certain amounts that would break your schema. But yeah, as you can see, they're open for configuration, so you can modify them and remove these safeties.
When you create this PS, the scheduled date, you provide it randomly, or it's always the same scheduled date?
It's going to be for daily, that's going to be whatever in the date that you select.
So overbooking is allowed?
Random times?
Random times, yes.
So basically, if I don't know a database model of freeze, I can schedule 5,000 studies daily on one modality.
Yes. Okay.
I think you have to add maximum daily studies per modality. Because if you schedule everything for one modality,
Evgeny,
Well,
this is a service tool. We
don't schedule everything for one
high-end tool. Don't use the system to abuse it. We are not going to add more protection or more changes on the tool. Use it carefully.
I'm just talking from the past experience.
You can break things.
Of escalated cases.
You can break things, that's a given, okay. You can reach a point where you break things in the schema by not using it correctly or abusing it. You can do the same by dropping the site worklist. But yes, so just don't do that.
And Avi is right, we did it when the tool was published, so everyone in QA swamped the exam done worklist, and we get into 2,000K daily. Okay?
Yeah, that's why we
so
put the limit.
We use it because we use it. 7 people, 8 people use the tool.
But it's not only abuse. Once you schedule, for example, 5 studies daily on the same modalities, it's unreversible. You cannot do, even if you
Move
move
them
them,
to
move
complete.
all of them to approved. When you use scheduled by date, you cannot use the date anymore.
So use tomorrow. I don't have, you know, use it carefully. The tool is there, use it carefully. We can't prevent everything.
Okay. Any more questions? All right.
Hey, Leo here. Sorry.
Sure.
One last question, I promise. When you create these kind of docs, how big are the files you are creating?
That's a good question. In the guide, in the initial configuration, the initial setup for the tool, as I said, you have that folder you need to deploy manually in the database machine. That also has scan documents there that are sample scan documents. You can replace them with something else if you want to simulate a heavier one. Just be sure they have the same names as the ones, the sample ones in the folder. I don't know exactly what the size is for the current samples, but you can definitely replace them as long as you retain the file.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, so any other questions? All right, so I guess we can conclude this. Who's next? I think Raquel. Okay, so I'm just gonna close this here.
Sorry.
Sure.
I've got one last question. Can you use the tool to create studies for NucMed, like a series?
Okay, yeah, you can select several studies that represent a series and choose linking, but it's not going to be a series as in you see that in the GUI. At least not at this point.
Because you got snapshot in one day, right?
Sorry?
Because you got snapshot in one day, or?
Did you get that?
Because of the 1 day limitation, maybe a series would be over several days.
No,
That's what he is saying.
I think it just
We do not support
we
it.
do not
There is no series.
relate to these studies as a series the same way the client does. That's it. You just select.
Okay.
So essentially, I can select 2 from NucMed and some other studies and link them, and that won't be a series, obviously. So you can just emulate a series in a sense, but not really the same as the client by selecting a few studies that are a series and just link them.
Okay, I understand. Thanks.
Right? So I'm gonna start here. No, so we're just keeping the recording on and just switching it to your
Yes.
okay.
My computer is open,
So let me just
computer and
close that. There you go. That's your